got patrol.
The Metro East Conference has no shortage of talent, and we'll see two fine teams take the floor at North St. Paul tonight. SEC Sports presents high school boys basketball. The North St. Paul Polars at 7-5 host the St. Thomas Academy Cadets at 7-6. Both teams hoping to rise to the top in the Metro East and gain valuable leverage in postseason seeding. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Beaton, joined by Stephanie Blanda. Stephanie, you've seen this North St. Paul team. They've been up and down all season. Started the year losing their first 3 games, went on a big win streak after their victory over De La Salle in surprise fashion. Since then, a little more of a roller coaster, but tonight against a high-quality St. Thomas Academy team, the Polars could start a new upswing.
Polars bring maximum effort. I'm liking what I see on defense. They're having a solid year. Even those losses don't really speak about the talent that's out there and what they can do, and I think they are on an upswing. One
of those losses, Cretin-Durham Hall, that went down to the wire. And one reason why they could go back on an upswing, actually 2 reasons, DeJuan Carter and Shaheed Mohammed. DeJuan Carter coming off a 40-point effort against Hill Murray. He is second in the state in scoring, averaging over 31 a game. And Shaheed Mohammed, the transfer from Woodbury, gives them a 3-point threat. A lot of folks wondered after the graduation of Good News Capegio if North St. Paul could contend in the Metro East. So far, the Polars have given us 2 big answers in the affirmative.
Looks like they're contending. They're currently number 3 in the Metro East Conference. St. Thomas Academy is number 4. This is going to be a good matchup, but I do think that the Polars are going to pull ahead by a decent margin tonight.
Consistency has eluded the Cadets. They picked up some big wins, including Robbinsdale Cooper, but they've had a rough stretch of games recently. Jason Burr told me in his brief pregame chat, they're trying to get back to their identity, which runs through Jack Thompson and Noah Chamberlain. Those 2 are double-double threats every night.
I do have it on good authority from maybe the team manager that Coach Damian Johnson is feeling pretty confident about tonight's game, so this is going to be a good matchup.
And we'll see if St. Thomas Academy brings some confidence as well. We'll be back with the starting lineups. You're watching high school boys basketball.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! Welcome back to North St. Paul High School. Mike Beaton and Stephanie Blanda with you. The starters are being introduced. Stephanie, you've been here for your fair share of games, usually as a coach for the volleyball team, but you've been on hand to see some conference rivalries. Games like this usually bring a crowd, and North St. Paul's fan base, they're an animated one.
That they are. They're ready to have a good time in here. Plus, we've got the band going, so we're going to have a lot of energy, a lot of loudness, a lot of excitement.
Last year, I came here to do the North St. Paul Tartan rivalry, one of the biggest on the schedule. It was packed. The cheerleaders and the pep band got the fans into it. It felt like being at a Lynx game during the height of their dynasty.
That makes performing on the court a little more exciting as a player as well. You just get that energy from the crowd, and it gives you the extra rush of adrenaline out there.
So here is a look at the starting 5 for the Cadets. It's Tony Wright, Jack Thompson, Unica Fondengala, Charlie Favinsky, and Noah Chamberlain. For North St. Paul, Brendan Langford Johnson, Aaron Murphy, Shaheed Mohammed, Ben Teagland, and Kenny Dolly. Kenny taking the place of DeJuan Carter, so we're going to see how North St. Paul fares without their leading scorer to start. We'll see if he's suited up and ready to play. So,
well, Kenny Dolly played his first varsity game against Hill Murray just the other day.
A game that North St. Paul won convincingly. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So this is a little new for him, but let's see what he's got.
The Cadets swing it around. Jack Thompson, their do-everything specialist.
From the baseline. So this matchup between the Metro East Conference number 3 and number 4, North St. Paul being number 3, St. Thomas Academy being number 4, not something to take lightly, fighting for position.
Cadets on the run, nothing doing. Aaron Murphy picks up the ball. And Langford Johnson will bring it up. As we noted, the Cadets going through some bumps over the last few games.
Conversely, North St. Paul going through some bumps at the very beginning of their season.
Right, North St. Paul had a brutal stretch to start their year. Their first 4 games featured 3 teams in their section, all of them contenders. Eastridge, they were ranked number 1 at the time. White Bear Lake, a team on the rise, and Cretin-Durham Hall. Aaron Murphy recovers and scores.
Aaron Murphy, a little fumble on that one, but he got it back up.
And then the Polars won 5 in a row, starting with a win over De La Salle. That team was without Tyrell Terry at the time, so make what you will, but it was a jump start to this Polars program.
Kind of a close game. They pulled it off with 5.
We were there for that one. DeJuan Carter, he came up clutch, and Carter has done that all season. In fact, here he comes now for the Polars. As we mentioned earlier, coming off a 40-point game over Hill Murray, 5 games with 30 or more. This kid can score. 3 on the way. Tony Wright missing.
Right now, he is second in the state in scoring. Is that correct, DeJuan?
You are correct. You've been doing your homework.
Or you have, copying your notes, Mike.
Someone's been doing their homework. But that's quite the jump. Carter, he averaged double figures last year, about 11 a game. And I was told by Kevin Alstein, as Dolly misses the 3-pointer, Alstein better known as TC Hoopsar, DeJuan Carter doesn't have the green light. It's a bright, flashing neon green light.
Neon green it is.
Kenny Dolly scores in transition. As you noted, Dolly with his first start of the season against Hill Murray. Pioneers, not a strong team in boys basketball, but as you know, if you want to be seen as a contender, as Jack Thompson drills the 3, one metric is how you perform against the high-level teams. Another is how you handle teams of a lower caliber. And a 30-point win, I'd say, sums up what this North St. Paul team can do.
Yeah, and Kenny Dolly already on the board tonight. Second varsity start.
Carter goes to Langford Johnson. Polars taking their time, which you can do. Now they try to go inside, and possession will go to North St. Paul.
It's off of St. Thomas. Rolled right off the foot. We have a substitution. Shahid Muhammad is in.
And as we noted in the open, Muhammad, a 3-point threat. Came over from Woodbury. There he is. Bullseye.
Shahid Muhammad making moves right as he enters the game with that 3-pointer.
He scored a season-high 32 against White Bear Lake. Thompson's pass, intercepted. Polars on the run. Muhammad with the finish.
Great pass sequence on that run down the court. Smart move hitting that up to Muhammad.
And keep an eye on that throughout the game. North St. Paul not afraid to go in transition. St. Thomas Academy prefers to score off set plays a little more. Dolly pump fakes the three. Polar swing it around. Mohammed. Back out to DeJuan Carter. Three on the way from Dolly. Off the mark. And Fondengala couldn't corral the rebound, so North St. Paul
Okay, I was going to little concerned that ref first called it as a St. Thomas ball, but clearly that went off the St. Thomas guy. See if they can put this in.
They cannot, at least for the moment. That was number 22, Laron Thomas. Three on the way. Swish. Noah Chamberlain.
Almost nothing but net on that one.
It went in, and that's what counts.
'Tis true in the game of basketball.
Dolly on the drive, almost walked. DeJuan Carter off the screen for three. Off the heel. Ball last touched by North St. Paul. We mentioned the conference positioning. North St. Paul and St. Thomas Academy neck and neck. In the section standings, if you go by QRF, St. Thomas Academy trailing Holy Angels, although the Stars got blindsided by De La Salle last night in the first meeting of that series. Noah Chamberlain stepped out of bounds.
So I think worth noting here, we've got 4-4A. North St. Paul's in 4-4A. 4A.
4-4A. You had it right. It can be a little tough to say 5 times fast.
In St. Thomas Academy, in
3-3A. Yes. North St. Paul, they're 6 if you go by QRF, but their section is loaded. East Ridge, White Bear Lake, Cretin-Durham Hall, Tartan, St. Paul Central. All of those teams have the athletes, they have the talent to make a run. East Ridge is the favorite team in that section, but it will be a nightmare to get through. I don't know of too many sections where 6 teams are in the mix. Usually you get 2 or 3 in a good group, but 6?
6 is kind of unheard of. It's going to make it really tough to get out of that one.
Well, it's one of a few reasons why, as DeJuan Carter launches the long three, misses everything.
Wow, that was at least 10 feet back.
That was a Steph Curry-like three-pointer.
But not a Steph Curry-like shot.
Give it time. He's won a few titles now. Everybody wants to be like him. Drawing the foul and shooting free throws will be Tony Wright.
This is our first free throw of the game.
It is Tony Wright at the free throw line this season, 71.4. He averages 10.7 a game, 2.9 rebounds. The third scoring option for the Cadets after Thompson and Chamberlain. But the logjam in 4-4A, and you get this in some 3A sections as well. That's why you see some coaches clamoring to go a straight 1 through 64 format instead of going by section, so that you don't have so many lopsided groups.
It is tough when it gets down to it. It makes some teams feel slighted when you're in the state tournament and you know that you are ahead of some of those guys.
Cadets looking to push. DeJuan Carter with the interception. Mohammed for three. Pure!
I'm going to give a big clutch pass shout out to Carter on that one. Open guy, open shot.
Carter with the dime. Cadets looking for the response. They can't get it. Laron Thomas with the board. Mohammed, he's feeling it. Goes for it himself and lays it in.
He's already in double digits with 11 left in this first quarter.
10 points in 7 minutes. I'd say that's pretty good efficiency.
No, he did not just do that. Did you catch that?
I did. I don't think the rest of the team was aware of it, though.
That could have worked. Oh,
Instead,
but St. Thomas brings the bucket.
Instead, Noah Chamberlain scores on the fast break. Mohammed for three. Well, I guess he's human after all. It didn't seem like it early on.
Oh!
Brendan Langford Johnson.
Swatted that thing out of the gym.
Almost as hard as a Yiza Franco kill.
You're right.
If you just joined us, Stephanie is the volleyball coach at North St. Paul. That's why I can make jokes like that.
Keep them coming, Mike.
It's still Cadets ball. 10:26 left in the first half. Tony Wright. Mid-range chase goes in.
Nothing but net for Tony.
And it's been back and forth, 14-13.
It really has been back and forth. I was not even aware until looking at the scoreboard that it was a 1-point game.
Sean West Zimpel makes it a 4-point game with that triple.
That was a few feet back from the three-point line as well. Nice shot.
And we saw this when North St. Paul played Cretin-Durham Hall. They favored the three-point shot.
A lot of teams do now. They're using it a lot more.
Noah Chamberlain scored the mid-range J, but right now, the Cadets are trading 2s for 3s with North St. Paul.
If that keeps happening, that will give them some room with that score just dividend farther and farther apart.
Jump ball, North St. Paul with the arrow. 9:27 left in the first half. A few substitutions. Nick Wright and Thomas Melee-Bin in the game for the Cadets. West Zimpel out to Mohammed through the hole, tried to feed it to Aaron Murphy, and he coughs it up to the Cadets.
Good thought on that one, but it seems like St. Thomas has adapted their defense a little bit to North St. Paul's style of play.
They tried the back door, and Thomas Melee-Bin couldn't finish. Those are points you got to convert. You're not going to get too many open looks down low like that. Mohammed drives and scores. As much as Mohammed likes to shoot the three, he's got a good first step off the dribble.
He does have a good first step off the dribble. Takes it right in down there. He can see around those defenders.
3 on the way, swish. Thomas Melee-Bin gets on the board. And we continue this back and forth affair between North St. Paul and St. Thomas Academy.
Thomas Melee-Bin averaging 4.2 points per game.
Mohammed, bullseye.
Someone's on fire, and it might be Mohammed.
Mohammed keeps this up. He could obliterate his season high.
He's got 15 of the Pullers' 22 points right now.
And Noah Chamberlain into a groove with the mid-range game. He's up to 9.
Now he's already over halfway to his average points per game at this point. He's had 4 20-point games. I think you mentioned that, with 3 double-doubles.
Merle Smith gets on the board on that drive. Cadets looking to push. Jack Thompson with the reverse, no good. Mohammed chases down the ball. Applauded for his efforts by the Polars fan base. Mohammed for 3. This place would have erupted had that gone down. Foul underneath on the Polars. And that gives everyone a chance to catch their breath. Fafinski for the Cadets and LaRon Thomas for the Polars checking back in. With 7:06 left in the first half. 24-20, North St. Paul over St. Thomas Academy. As we noted earlier, number 3 and 4 in the Metro East. Fafinski goes up, can't bank it off the window. If you're curious, number 1 and 2 in the Metro East, Matamidi, and the school Stephanie once attended, Tartan.
Tartan has a long-standing tradition of being a good basketball program for guys.
And you weren't too bad for the girls when you played.
Not too bad, you're right. State tournament appearance.
You did go to state?
Yes. I think it was 95, 96. Chucks it down.
Whoa! LaRon Thomas says, get out of here. And a foul on the Cadets. It's plays like that, even if it doesn't net you any points, plays like that can shift the momentum.
That's hardcore. That's good stuff. Absolutely shifts the momentum. Absolutely shifts the momentum. We were interrupted by a trip down the bleachers.
It's a tight fit up here. 6:13 to go, a quick moving game, not a lot of fouls. Carter banks in the triple.
That gets DeJuan Carter on the board.
And if DeJuan Carter gets going, St. Thomas Academy could be in big trouble.
He has 5 games with 30-plus points.
Kick ball. So you went to state in 95, 96.
Yes, correct.
I would have been 8 years old.
I did not realize you were younger than me, Mike. No offense.
Surprise.
It's that pulled-together personality.
3 ball.
Just off.
And a push foul called on the Polars. It's going to go against Ben Tieglin. So you went to state, so I take it you win. Did you go play at the Target Center, or did you have to play at the Civic Center in those days?
No, we were at the U of M.
That's right, it was at Williams those
Correct.
years. Thompson for 3. Bullseye.
Jack Thompson's at 8, averaging 19.2 points per game this point in the season. He had 29 points against Simley.
Tell you what, the Cadets are hanging around. Carter, another 3. Pure!
That's a fan favorite.
Well, I'd be a fan favorite too if I could rank second in the state in scoring.
You would be. The question is if you can keep shooting those far-range threes at a later point in the game once you're tired, because you need a little more body energy to push that out there.
Today's players don't seem to mind those deep threes. As you said, the game shifting more toward perimeter shooting and layups, more efficient shots. There's another example. Although Langford Johnson can't connect on that 3. Cadets looking to go in transition. Thompson doesn't have the numbers, so he'll back off. And he was fouled before he could drive. That will go against LaRon Thomas.
North St. Paul with 4 fouls. St. Thomas Academy with 1.
Still 2 fouls to give for the Polars, so you're not concerned about that yet. And relatively few fouls so far.
You're right, relatively few fouls compared to some of these other games that we've seen, where it seemed like every other second someone's on the free throw line. Baseline shot, just off.
Fafinski tried to knock it down, could not. Polars looking to push. Fondengala, I believe, got in there for the deflection, but Carter recovers. Almost knocks down the 3. Offensive rebound goes to Dolly.
Dolly did a good job keeping that ball in bounds. I don't know if you saw that graceful leap he made, tossing it back in.
And it works in his favor. He draws the foul on Fondengala. Carter trying to work off the screen. Now it's Thomas who has it. Langford Johnson, mid-range. Looks off, and it is. Tony Wright scoops up the ball. Thompson pulls up, banks it off the glass.
Great jump shot.
The backboard is there for a reason. Carter, what a move! A spectacular move for North St. Paul's sensational senior. And Carter finding a rhythm. He's up to 8. Thompson for 3. Rims out. Tieglin with the board. Carter with a 2-on-2. Deep 3. If that went down, we all would have been out of here. We would have gone home, right?
At this point, you can't leave anybody open on D from the half court. They're going to start shooting that far back.
Jack Thompson sinks the triple.
All right.
And the Cadets, every time it looks like the Polars are ready to make that first degree of separation, the Cadets find an answer.
They are answering, and at this point, Jack Thompson is over halfway to his average points per game. Still with 2 minutes left, almost 3 in this first half. If he keeps that up, it's going to be a high game for him.
Well, as we noted earlier, St. Thomas Academy, their offense funnels primarily through Thompson and Chamberlain.
Yeah, their offense also seems to, well, it is a little more methodical than what North St. Paul is doing. You mentioned that earlier with plays.
Thompson averaging 19.2 and Chamberlain the double-double threat. Mohammed. The skip to Tieglin. Baseline J does not drop. Noah Chamberlain collects the board. Thompson feeling it. That one goes off the heel. Langford Johnson controls the rebound. Dolly through the lane. No good. Able to save it.
Was that a setup or a shot? Oh, pass right to St. Thomas Academy.
We'll never know. But I do know the Cadets trail by 4. Right to Chamberlain. Up. And gets the friendly bounce. That was Melebin, I should say, with the dime. Chamberlain with the bucket. And Chamberlain has that mid-range stroke going in his favor.
He definitely does. Great game so far. Obviously scoring, but rebounds as well.
It's not an element you see too often these days with the emphasis on three-point shooting, layups, short-range shots.
That's definitely where this game is differing right now. North St. Paul either seems to be shooting from really far out or driving right to the basket. St. Thomas Academy, a lot more mid-range shots. Although they've upped their threes, they just haven't been making them yet.
And in this era of hyper-efficient shooting, players who can develop a mid-range game like Chamberlain is, that can work to your benefit because a lot of defensive schemes don't necessarily draw a play for those mid-range shooters like they used to. But you're right with the Polars, they seem to have a little more speed on their side as LaRon Thomas demonstrates. So there is an advantage to having a mid-range game as part of your arsenal these days. Tieglin with the rejection.
That's the third rejection of the game.
And nice job by Tieglin not falling for the fake that Tony Wright tried to put in play. I generally say in broadcast that the pump fake works only every single time. I guess I stand corrected.
Except when it's getting swatted out of the park.
But that takes discipline and IQ. Carter with the runner.
He just let that thing fall right in there.
And just like that, DeJuan Carter's got himself a quick 10. Melebin, the bounce pass. Fafinski couldn't finish. He'll draw the foul. Polars with 1 to give, but once again, St. Thomas Academy, they haven't trailed by much, but with the Polars showing a little more agility on their side, you've got to convert those plays down low.
You do, but I have a feeling that St. Thomas Academy might be taking a couple more threes. Oh, back to Chamberlain. A couple more threes, and they're going to start falling pretty soon.
You called it.
Oh!
And Tony Wright, the beneficiary.
You're welcome, Tony.
If only you had that magic with the North St. Paul volleyball team, right?
All right, Mike.
Polars will hold for the final shot. And with Carter, I wouldn't be surprised if he shoots it from there. There it is. And it almost goes in. But a 3-point game, 36-33, in a battle of North St. Paul's perimeter shooting and fast break play against the steady mid-range game with some threes on the side for St. Thomas Academy.
I like what Noah Chamberlain's doing in the paint. He's scoring a lot from down there, and I think they need to keep using him.
We're having a hard time hearing each other because of the North St. Paul pet band, but...
What'd you say?
What? I can't hear you, but right. Noah Chamberlain, that could be useful in the second half. I'm going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be real interesting to see which strategy, which style wins out.
I am too. It'll be a really interesting comparison. I think we're going to see the defense heating up a little bit more as well. We had 3 blocked shots this first half. Probably a couple more of those as well.
Stay tuned for what should be an exciting second half. This is high school boys basketball on SEC Sports.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
Whoa.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
Second half about to start between North St. Paul and St. Thomas Academy. Mike Peden and Stephanie Blanda with you. North St. Paul leading St. Thomas Academy 36-33. A back and forth game every time North St. Paul tried to establish that degree of separation. St. Thomas Academy answered, and a lot of that had to do with Noah Chamberlain's mid-range game.
Really appreciating Noah Chamberlain's mid-range game. He's kind of leading St. Thomas Academy right now with rebounds as well, although we don't have a count. St. Thomas Academy has 4 players on the scoreboard at this point. North St. Paul was 6.
And Chamberlain had a look underneath. He didn't see it. Well, they do get one to drop, and it's Charlie Favinsky.
Passing game strong.
DeJuan Carter, drive doesn't fall. And the ball went off of Chamberlain, so North St. Paul catches a break.
That was some good movement underneath the basket by St. Thomas Academy, and it worked out in their favor.
Now, you were talking to me, it's something you're getting used to in the high school game. It's been over a decade since they played with 18-minute halves. When you played, it was 8-minute quarters.
Can't remember that long ago, Mike.
Well, you remember.
You could have told me it was 4 20-minute quarters, and I would have believed you.
4 20-minute quarters. We'd all be gassed. Like. So you remember going to state, but you don't remember how long your games went.
That wasn't important. What was important was either assisting, rebounding, scoring, or blocking shots. Stealing, too.
You did everything at Tartan, didn't you?
Tried to. Baseline shot. That's a swish.
For Charlie Favinsky, and the Cadets take the lead, 37-36. And you and I were talking off broadcast, and one of my camera ops noted this too. St. Thomas Academy never seen rattled even when they went down by 8 points a couple of times.
They're definitely headstrong. Shows great strength when your mental game, when you have the ability to keep your mental game strong.
DeJuan Carter with a Steph Curry three-pointer.
At which point are we getting back to this half-court line and shooting? That's what I want to know.
Foul.
And one?
Yes. So Yanika Fondangala has a chance to give the Cadets the lead. But the Cadets have always been a disciplined team since Jason Burr came in here. Last time I covered them was with Emil Jihad. He knows Burr's history quite well and what he's done to build up the boys basketball program. They've had back-to-back state tournament appearances. They have yet to get past the quarterfinals. That is the next obstacle they would like to clear. But they've had some great athletes, and Fondangala.
What about that bounce?
Some terrific athletes. Sam Basilero scored 1,000 points. You have a solid duo, Noah Chamberlain and Jack Thompson. And speaking of Sam Basilero, he traded one St. Thomas for another. He is playing basketball over at the University of St. Thomas. And if I'm correct, I believe you went to that school too back in the day.
You are correct, Mike, as with most everything else.
Turnover on the Cadets.
Let's get back to talking about this mental game. It's a thing that really separates teams. You can have the best team in the world, but if you crack under pressure and if you haven't worked on that mental game, and you have to work on it every day, you could have the best team in the world and you're not going to get to where you need to be. Ooh.
Oh! A collision between Thompson and Langford Johnson.
Yeah, an unintentional collision.
No, one of the officials asking Thompson if he's okay. They do call the foul on Thompson because of the blocking move, as they call it, but right, no malice. Everyone's okay. That's just what happens when two strong forces collide. DeJuan Carter off balance.
Polars back in the lead. They were down by 1.
Makes it look effortless.
Absolutely.
Thompson. Out to Fafinski, another baseline J, does not drop. Chamberlain tried to get the putback slam. Now Thompson fires the 3. That is short, and an over the back foul will be charged to Fafinski. 14:55 left in the second half. The Cadets, as we noted, back-to-back Section 3 3A champions, North St. Paul, hoping they can play the spoiler in Section 4 4A. They got rocketed by Eastridge to start the season. And I talked to Damian Johnson back in December about that brutal start where 3 of your first 4 games are against a section, and that 4th one just happens to be the #1 team in 3A. And he said it's all about preparation. He wanted to play tough teams early to gauge what the Polars needed to do to be in the conversation.
It's interesting that he chose to play all tough teams early, although maybe it's not. Sometimes it's not a choice. We will say that as far as how the schedule lines up. But it was good for them to figure out where they needed to be.
Melee been scored for the Cadets. Carter scoring for the Polars. You could say they're both #1 prodigies.
Clever.
Chamberlain left alone. Missed the 3 from the corner. Langford Johnson collects the board. 43-42. 3 is on the way. It will not drop for Mohammed. But Shaheem Mohammed does have 3 triples to his credit so far. Tony Wright is fouled. They'll shoot 2.
Tony Wright has had a couple season-high games of 14 points, usually averaging 10.7 points per game.
Those 17-point performances came against Shakopee and Tartan. As we noted, consistency has been an issue for the Cadets. They've run into a roadblock of sorts over the last few games.
Tony Wright putting St. Thomas Academy back in the lead by 1.
And one reason why Jason Burr may not have a whole lot to say, one of those recent games was an 80-49 drubbing by Matamidai, who leads the Metro East Conference and possibly could get to state this year. And then they're coming off a 14-point loss to Tartan, another team, as you noted, with a strong history in boys basketball.
Top couple teams in that Metro East Conference.
North St. Paul and Tartan have played already. Of course, you were on one side of that rivalry. You've been on both sides now.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Clutch steal by Jack Thompson.
Cadets on the run. Melee Ben is fouled. He'll shoot 2. What was it like? I know volleyball doesn't get the same level of intensity as basketball does, but what is it like to be on both sides of that district rivalry with North St. Paul and Tartan? Because
now, intensity as far as what?
As far as the energy or the hype, the enthusiasm. I came here last year for North St. Paul and Tartan as we've got our first time out, and the place was sold out. It was loud. The crowd was huge. And so I'm wondering, with your volleyball experience and then going back to your days as a player for Tartan, what the rivalry was like back then.
So back then, the rivalry was really strong. It was probably better matched up in basketball than it was in volleyball for girls. We did beat them.
Oh, you couldn't beat North St. Paul in volleyball, or?
We did beat them.
Oh, when you played.
Yes, back in the day.
And now how the tables have turned. Now you're beating up on Tartan.
We're beating up on Tartan a little bit. Yeah, we did beat up on Tartan. But it's still the same fun rivalry. Gym's packed. A lot of energy. Students love it. I think that'll stay strong throughout the years. It's kind of always been that way.
Does anyone give you a hard time about graduating from Tartan only to take a coaching job at North St. Paul?
Probably. Although, my high school volleyball coach, Laura Klingsborn, a stud athlete who was from North St. Paul herself, then went and coached at Tartan, did come back here to line judge games. People bounce around and it's okay.
Is she related to the Klingsborn,
Yes.
Mark Klingsborn? I know his
Correct.
brother is a high school official.
She was married to Mark Klingsborn. They have a daughter. You remember? Their daughter was Miss Volleyball, I believe. Nikki Klingsborn?
That name does not ring a bell.
Okay. Maybe that was before your time a little bit.
Melee Ben knocks down both free throws. That was attempts 5 and 6 for him on the season, and he's made them all.
Impressive, and a great time to do it.
3 ball. Mohammed can't drain it from the corner. And that was close. There could have been a foul there. There was contact. Carter bringing the pressure up front.
North St. Paul has definitely stepped up their defense with this being down by 3 points.
Polar's able to save it. And we'll settle things down with Langford Johnson running the point. Looking off the screen from Carter. Shovel pass to Mohammed. Side fade, 3 ball, got it. No, they call it a 2. Mohammed's toe must have toed the line. And I'll show myself out.
We're going to need you to stay. That puts Mohammed on the board for the second half of this game.
And he's up to 17 for the game. I'm sure you could handle it by yourself.
Might as well give it a go at some point. But how about stay?
Yeah, you're right. It gets boring when you're talking to yourself.
Does it?
For me, it does.
Okay.
Fandangala for 3. That's long. Long carom goes to Thompson. Finds Fandangala again. Cadets will run another set here. Still a lot of time and a 1-point game. Mohammed went for the tip.
St. Thomas able to save that one. Gonna have to take those open threes when you get them.
Melee bin to Tony Wright, I should say. And Tony Wright drains the mid-range J. Carter goes off balance, but he draws the foul. He'll shoot 2. DeJuan Carter, not many players go through the evolution he has had this season. It's one thing to go from a role player or a supporting cast member where you're chipping in 10, 15 points. It's another to nearly triple your scoring.
Well, if you remember the first game that we called, I think we weren't even focused on him right away. We were more focused on Shahid Mohammed before the game, what we thought he was going to do. And then we saw DeJuan Carter come out, and now he's second leading scorer in the state. That is a transformation.
31.3. And he doesn't care who the opponent is. Again, he dropped 40 on Hill Murray, and he had a string of 30-point games against high-quality teams, including Cretin-Durham, Holland, De La Salle. Right. So he's not stuffing the stats against low-level competition.
No, he's got the game that speaks against teams of any level.
Mohammed with the steal. No, look, dish. And Aaron Murphy with the finish.
What about that?
DeJuan Carter taking a breather on the North St. Paul bench. And that's another quirk of North St. Paul that you don't always see at other gyms, with the bleachers right up on the baseline. The first row serves as the bench for both teams, and it's no different when your volleyball team is out there.
It's not padded over there, Mike.
Must not be comfortable then. Mohammed for three. We mentioned DeJuan Carter having the green light to shoot. I think Mohammed has the same green light when he's out beyond the arc.
Oh, absolutely, and we're definitely not overlooking him.
And we're certainly not overlooking Jack Thompson. His three ball from the corner pocket gives the Cadets a 3-point lead, 51-48. And the Polars respond. Sean West Zimple looking to do so from 3-point range. Rebound, no reverse, and that's going to be an over-the-back foul on LaRon Thomas. 10-10 to go. And now it's the Cadets who seem to have the edge of momentum.
It's speaking that way on the scoreboard as well.
Timeout, St. Thomas Academy. They had all five in their pocket. So 10-10 remains. There hasn't been a lot of ebb and flow with this game. You know, no big runs on either side. The largest lead for either team has been 8. This game, or at least the closing of it, could come down to minutia.
It's going to be about aggressiveness, defense, and field goal percentage, really.
That always helps.
I mean, pretty much in every game, but I think you can see St. Thomas being very aggressive under the board, going for the rebounds. Their passing game has stepped up, going down the middle. North St. Paul is really pushing on D at this point, too.
Going back to our earlier discussion about rivalries,
Yes.
I've noticed you're kind of a celebrity here. You had a few folks come up to you beforehand when you arrived.
I don't know about that, but I
think you're a big deal here.
Let's give a shout out to T Money, Uber manager in the North St. Paul High School. He assisted with volleyball for a few years. Been with basketball, I think since Coach Damian Johnson's been here, maybe before, I'm not sure. He's got this place under control. Familiar face in the gym.
He's witnessed over 100 wins.
That's right, you must be following his Twitter, or he told you that.
He did tell me that.
Okay.
High-low, off the mark. Now they kick back out, and Chamberlain knocks down the three.
I like that play. That's a good one.
Little inside-out action.
Inside-out work. Puts Chamberlain on the board this second half.
And now the Cadets hold their largest lead of the game. Mohammed. West Zimple, 3-ball, corner pocket. Fabulous recognition by Mohammed. He saw the double coming. As you know, that means somebody's open. $9:10 to go. That's Nick Wright.
You know, one thing that I would like to see from St. Thomas is take a few more of the open shots when they have them instead of continuing to pass the ball.
It's a one-possession game, and again, St. Thomas Academy playing a more disciplined, deliberate style.
Right.
But with the margin this close, you know, the longer you hang on to it, well, there's somebody who's got the green light.
Well, there you
it's
go.
Jack Thompson. I think he heard you.
Say it and it will happen.
I didn't know you had so much power over this game.
Maybe they can hear us.
So the Cadets push their lead back to 6. 3 on the way, that's short. And I think the difference in the second half, North St. Paul not able to penetrate inside.
We haven't seen as many moves down to the basket.
Chamberlain for three. That could have been big for the Cadets with 8:05 to go. Instead, Langford Johnson gets the rebound. Wes Zimpel from the corner again. That doesn't drop. North St. Paul settling for a lot of three-pointers right now.
Settling for a lot of three-pointers and not as noticeable on those rebounds.
Thompson, the long skip. And drawing the foul is number 5. That's Thomas Odegaard, and he'll go to the line.
Almost our first block shot of this second half. Not quite.
Thomas Odegaard, averaging 4.8.
So these 2 attempts right here could put him on the board for the night.
He's only been to the line 4 times this season. .8 points and 3.1 rebounds per game. Odegaard knocks down both. We haven't seen too many free throws, but the Cadets are 5 of 6.
And we've got a solid 8-point lead by the Cadets.
For the Polars, can they work their way inside? Or can they get some threes to drop? We're going to have a foul called on Nick Wright.
Nick Wright unhappy with that call. North St. Paul, this is going to be their time to turn up that mental game and get back to what they were doing right from the start.
Mohammed to Wes Zimpel. Back out to Mohammed. 3-ball. Corner pocket. They pulled a double move. It looked like Wes Zimpel was going to set up for the 3. There's a rejection. Brendan Langford Johnson denying Charlie Fafinski.
Charlie Fafinski, if he had moved just a little bit quicker on that after the pass, that shot I think would have gone in.
But it's still Cadets ball. Chamberlain almost lost his grip, tries to save it, and instead deflects it into the St. Thomas Academy bench.
Defense picking up. And you're right, there is some excitement about those blocked shots. That just sets the adrenaline moving. Get out of my house. Boom.
It's no different in volleyball, is it?
Oh, blocks are huge. It feels so good to stuff somebody.
Here is a chance for the Polars. Going back to the preparation. Willing to take those lumps against higher level teams.
Great pass to Ben Tieglin.
Ben Tieglin with his first bucket, and the dime by Mohammed. Another no-look dish. It's a one-possession game now. Cadets looking to change that. Tony Wright can't get the 3 to fall. Carter, he's back in the game. They swing it around. Langford Johnson. Thomas Malebin with the rebound.
You know, I wish that we were keeping track of rebounds back here. It would be interesting to see the differential.
Cadets. Back door! And Tony Wright missed it. Tieglin couldn't handle the rebound, and
still their ball.
He's not happy about it.
Great move, just didn't work out. There's something to be said about those playing with guys, teammates, being comfortable with them and their style, being able to do the no-look pass, what we're seeing under the hoop. We've seen a lot of good stuff tonight.
And recognizing openings, as Tony Wright did, he saw Fafinski break loose down low off the inbound. Carter trying to draw the foul, gets his own rebound, goes back up, and lays it in. Carter up to 20, 5.5 to play. Cadets on the run. They'll have to run a set play now. Malebin out to Chamberlain.
Oh.
A collision, a blocking foul. That will be the last to give for the Polars, who trail by 3 with 5:13 left.
Now, I'm not sure if you've noticed, Mike, but St. Thomas has had a few more just down court balls a lot quicker.
They've been trying, right. They've been leaking out a little more. Noah Chamberlain, averaging 16 and a half, just a 52% free throw shooter. Knocks down the first one to make it a 2-possession game. And that's not an earthquake, that's the fans trying to rally the troops. Chamberlain splits. Carter has it on the run. And he'll shoot two. Both teams now out of fouls to give. And if you think the fan activity gets crazy for a game like this, I remember the North St. Paul Tartan game last year. The cheerleaders led the student section into a "Whose House, Our House" chant.
And that was here?
That was here.
Okay.
They had to play one of those conference games on a Saturday, just the way the schedule worked out. But it made for a fun afternoon of hoops.
It always is when you've got the energy and you've got the participation from your school.
Carter splits at the line. And if nothing else, it proved that you can host a conference rivalry on a Saturday and still draw a crowd.
That's a good point.
Usually they're held on weekdays and your non-conference games on weekends, but not the case last year. Chamberlain almost gets that one to go in. We've got bodies flying everywhere. Carter wins the scrum. Nothing called. It should be St. Thomas. No!
That had to be the most interesting turn of events, ball possession, dives that we've seen in a long time.
I thought it was St. Thomas Academy ball. That was akin to a fumble in football and everybody diving for it, and then the ball bounces around because nobody can get it.
That was an oblong-shaped thing going in every which direction.
It felt like that. It looked that way.
Another foul.
And now you're seeing North St. Paul step up the aggression.
Oh, the aggression has been stepped up. 3-point game.
And free throws coming for LaRon Thomas.
LaRon Thomas has the ability to bring this game within 2.
No one in serious foul trouble for St. Thomas Academy. LaRon Thomas does have 3 for the Polars, but if it comes down to foul and chase, both teams have a lot of options.
This is definitely a feisty game.
1-1, Thomas knocks down the first.
Garners huge crowd reaction. (62-61) after Thomas makes both. 3 on the way. No good. Fafinski had the O board, but Shaheem Mohammed swats the ball away from behind. And we've got a timeout.
St. Thomas Academy calls a timeout, but North St. Paul, they looked flat to start the second half. Now they're piecing things together.
So this is going to be an interesting position for North St. Paul. I think they came into this game thinking they were going to have a much larger margin than this by this point. So they're probably a little shook right now.
Again, St. Thomas Academy, no pushover.
No, absolutely not, and not to discredit them at all. They're doing it.
Remember,
having an amazing game.
This Cadets team, they picked up some big wins early in the season, including a win over top 10 Robbinsdale Cooper. So this team's certainly capable of registering notable wins.
Absolutely. I think we already talked about records, but recapping, St. Thomas Academy is 7-6 overall, and North St. Paul is 7-5.
And when you look at the records, a lot of high-quality teams. As you know, St. Thomas Academy has the annual series with Cretin-Durham Hall and North St. Paul. We mentioned the start of their schedule. to start the month of January, they played against Eden Prairie, a top 10 team in 4A, lost that one by 10. So the Polars stacked their non-conference slate with high-level 4A teams.
So smart, so smart. That's what you need to do to get ready for the end. The end being the section finals.
Right, and experience in moments like that can help you in a situation we're seeing here.
Correct.
What you go through, even though they got destroyed by Eastridge, what they went through in those early games, what they saw against Eden Prairie, all of that prepares you when you go up against a conference rival as capable as St. Thomas Academy. Foul was called on Tony Wright for the Cadets, 1-1 for DeJuan Carter. And he ties it up. DeJuan Carter, one of the surprising prodigies in the senior class this season.
DeJuan Carter's at 23 points so far this game.
And we've seen him break out for 30 on a few occasions.
Oh, I think that...
No call.
Interesting.
Chamberlain loses his grip. He
call
loses his footing, and that forces the Cadets to burn a timeout.
Clever timeout calling.
Clever, but
needed.
Not one you want to burn per se. But
no, you
that's
don't.
why, I mean, both coaches had saved them all for the second half, so we expected a little more timeout strategy here, but you know, that's why you hang on to them.
I think that with the Polars up by 1 point right now, 3:33 left, everybody's getting a little jittery, a little nervous. You can kind of see it in the play. It's going beyond aggressive to just getting a little bit out of control. And that's what needs to be reined in right now. And the team that can do that is going to be the team that can pull this off.
Well, it's understandable. As you noted, 3 and 4 in the Metro East Conference. Both teams needing to win this game to stay in the race for that conference title. And while in Minnesota high school sports that doesn't get you a whole lot, winning that conference title can buy you some leverage, as we've got a foul on Mohammed. So the steady hand of Jack Thompson will shoot one to earn one. But winning a conference title can give you some leverage in section and state tournament seeding should either of these schools make it into the Final 8.
Conference, not so much.
Thompson missing the front end. It's something
winning the conference is bragging rights, but in the end, everybody's going to look at who you played,
right,
where they rank.
It can play a factor, though, when the coaches get together. You know, they look at who you played, head-to-head matches.
Right.
Who did you defeat?
Yes, that's what we look at more than did we win the conference. But usually, if you're winning the conference, you're winning those games too.
North St. Paul, another rebound slipping from their fingertips. They've let a couple of them fall right through.
You know, the other thing that winning a conference does for you is it affects the amount of all-conference selections for your team. And I'm not sure if you're aware of that, how that process works. Ooh.
A foul is called on St. Thomas Academy. And they're going to call it a loose ball foul. So that means free throws for the Polars. It was a clean, smooth sailing first half. As you noted, the second half much more jittery.
This is getting messy.
Almost like that section final of yours.
Not again.
Hey, that was one of my favorite moments of the season. Right?
Was it really?
Well, you always get to enjoy. You love calling those nail biters. Shaheen Mohammed knocks down the front end. He makes both. And North St. Paul building their lead at the free throw line, 65-62.
There's nothing better than an evenly matched game and or one that you think isn't so evenly matched and the underdog's ahead for a little bit?
Well, I don't know if there was really an underdog in this matchup.
No, not at all.
Chamberlain for three. That's short. Rebound, Carter. And he loses it to Thompson. Now remember, both teams in the penalty. And still plenty of time. A lot of timeouts. Cadets don't need a three necessarily. But Chamberlain will take it. The Cadets have had trouble knocking down their threes as of late. And North St. Paul, with a one-possession lead, they can milk the clock if they wish. There it is, the Who's House chant. Lynx fans would be so proud, wouldn't they? Carter with the drive, no good. And the rebound goes past everybody. So the Cadets catch a break with 1:41 to go. Again, they don't need a three. Although, North St. Paul will be in the double bonus at the next foul. But you could go for a quick two.
You can go for a quick two, but you're still going to need three to tie it up.
Saying go for a quick two and then try to make him earn it at the line. But what do I know?
A lot.
One thing you can't do is turn it over. And that's what the Cadets do. Costly miscues on these last few possessions, and a foul is called.
I was a little surprised that nobody on the St. Thomas team saw him standing there solo.
And Sean West Zimple can make this a two-possession game. Could this be another example of oh so close for the Cadets? They gave Cretin-Durham Hall a run back in December 21st. They were leading at the end of the first half. Couldn't close out. They were up by 8 over North St. Paul. And now they're in danger of dropping another game within their reach. West Zimple makes it a two-possession game. North St. Paul 7 of 9 from the line.
And that free throw puts West Zimple on the board in the second half.
Three ball, that's short. And the Polars looks like they're going to hang on.
So a much less margin on this game than maybe what we were anticipating at the beginning.
Mohammed out to West Zimple. Polars will play keep away, make
and
the
there's
Cadets.
the foul.
Yep, make the Cadets foul them and go to the line. I mean, this was tough for me to predict as far as margin, who would win, because the discipline of St. Thomas Academy, North St. Paul picking up some big wins. That victory over De La Salle, sparking this recent round of success. Timeout, STA. West Zimple missing the front end. Full timeout here.
All right, Mike, what do you do if you're St. Thomas Academy right now?
Well, you're going to need a quick score. The three-point shots aren't working. You trail by 2 possessions. It's going to depend on what happens when West Zimple goes back to the line. But you're going to need a quick 3, I would think, to make it a one-possession game.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on that one.
The problem is, if you score, you only have 1 timeout left to stop the clock. As you know, the clock doesn't stop on a made basket at this level.
Right.
SCC, by the way, will be back here next Friday. Well, not here exactly, but we'll be back with more basketball coverage as the Polars go on the road to play Mahtomedi. That should be fun. Javon Hadley going up against DeJuan Carter.
Okay, and Mahtomedi is ranked first in the Metro East Conference right now.
And they're a top 10 team in Class 3A. They could end up making the 3A state tournament this year.
That'll be a big game.
And we'll be back here, of course, for the second round of the North St. Paul Tartan doubleheader. That's one of the annual rituals SCC Sports brings you. In case you're wondering, February 12th will be round 2 between those two schools. A rivalry that never gets old.
We anticipate a packed gym for that game.
West Zimple misses the second one. Rebound was lost to the Polars. Man, oh man, the Cadets They can't catch a break in these last few minutes.
No, they went from wanting to high-five West Zempo for that miss to getting the ball taken away from them.
And 2 free throws coming for Shaheed Mohammed. He has 22.
Make that 23.
Not as active in the second half, but he got the Pullers offense motoring early in this one. The transfer from Woodbury. And what a welcome transfer it is if you're a Pullers fan. Pullers up by 6 now. They need a 3 to fall. It does not.
He was already out of bounds, I think, on that one. White ball, yes. St. Thomas has kind of had the inability to hit those 3-point shots this second half.
Cadets ball. They need a 3. Chamberlain can't give it to them. And that should do it.
We have an injured player that looks like DeJuan Carter. Elbow. Might have been just a landing.
Says he's okay. He'll shoot these free throws, but North St. Paul is going to pick up the win. And with it, they'll stay on pace with Matamidi and Tartan for the Metro East Conference lead. This doesn't help them as much in the section standings for Section 4 4A because the Metro East Conference has a mix of 4A and 3A teams. But still, a win is a win.
That's right. And they will look at where someone is ranked in a different section or a different, what are we calling that?
Section, right,
Yeah.
class.
Class, that's what I meant.
Carter knocks down both free throws, but it's academic. North St. Paul, they trailed by as much as 8 in the second half. Free throws rally them back. And they're going to get out of here with a 70-62 win unless
Great
St.
rebound
Thomas
by
Academy
Tony Wright.
scores, and they will. Great rebound, but it won't be enough for the Cadets. 70-64 the final, and North St. Paul fights their way out of a jam, and it goes back to those bevy of brutal non-conference games. That gives you the lessons, it gives you the wisdom, the experience of how to handle situations that don't go in your favor, and we saw an example of that tonight. North St. Paul, they drop by 8, or go down by 8, I should say, doesn't face them one bit.
Kudos to them for pulling off this victory, but we must commend this St. Thomas team. They were tough, they were rebounding. I think had they hit a few more of their shots from that 3-point range, they would have been right up there. This game was a lot closer than we thought it would be. Fun game.
Fun game for North St. Paul. They get the win and go to 8-5, 70-64 the final. We'll try to get a word with the leading scorers from the Polars. This is high school boys basketball on SEC Sports.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
And I'm joined by DeJuan Carter and Shaheed Mohammed. DeJuan, you came off the bench tonight, but it didn't take long for you to find your footing on offense.
Yeah, it was just, you know, I'm always like the first scoring option, I think, so I know I can always put the ball in the hole.
You trailed by 8 in the second half, but worked your way back, especially from the free throw line. What kept your composure when the Cadets went on their run?
You know, just work on our pace. Like, we was letting them control the game, so we have to just make it our game, like, control it.
And what would you make of your growth in scoring? Last year, I think you were averaging 10-11. You've just about tripled that. You're second in the state. What do you credit your evolution to?
Coach Johnson and Coach A-Rob, they always come in the morning and, like, just doing extra stuff with me to help me get better.
Well, no 30-point game tonight, although you didn't need it with Shaheed Mohammed knocking down threes, especially early in the game. Shaheed, You came over from Woodbury and brought your three-point stroke with you. How did you develop such a long range?
I just started developing and like working on my jump shot over the summer. So cause last year my shot wasn't that good, so I decided to take the summer and really get better on my jump shot so I can do good this year.
What does it say about the grittiness of this team where you come back from 8 points down in the second half to pick up a key conference win?
Yeah, it's just a tough battle, and as a team, we need to like lock in and stay locked in the whole game so like we don't get down like that. But I really like how we came back and like fought with, like brought the lead back and took the lead with our defense and stuff.
And how would you say you have meshed with this team since coming over here from Woodbury?
I said the chemistry is really great. I get really good, get along really good with these guys, and yeah, I hope we just keep winning.
Well, it helps when you've got a guy like Dewan who can score on threes and drives and do all the things you guys do. Congrats on the win. You want to say hi to anybody?
Nah. Well, hey everybody that's watch.
Yeah. Hey to everybody.
Hey to everybody. Dewan Carter and Shaheed Mohammed. Again, congrats on the win. We'll see if this helps you take that Metro East Conference down the road. All right, that wraps up our coverage here from North St. Paul. For Stephanie Blanda and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Beaton. Thanks for watching high school boys basketball on SEC.